So what is the title of the talk? It was a nice title today. Is our beingness experiencing through all bodies? Lisa Cairns, Non-Duality. Is our beingness experiencing through all bodies? Okay. So we first of all need to decipher what our beingness is, like what is meant by that. So that's pretty cool, that notion, because if it's true, it means that everybody that you look at and looks into your eyes is the same essence. That's really beautiful. That's so profound on so many levels. So next time you're on the subway and somebody's like picking their nose and rubbing it on the seat, and you're disgusted and appalled, what a terrible human being they are, how dare they do that, somebody's going to get bogey on them. Like when you catch eye contact with them with your unhappy face, it's the same essence looking at you. So even though you've got anger, and then maybe they've got anger if you confront them, so the body is both angry, that which is experiencing beyond the anger is absolutely in love with itself and contented with itself. It has no judgment of the bogey, it has no judgment of the anger, it has no judgment of the loudness of the subway, of the smells on the subway. It's just experiencing itself. And it's love, absolute contentment. So both these bodies, on the human reaction there is anger, but deeper than that, there is just pure love looking at pure love. Same with if we imagine a war zone and two people fighting each other. So two people are holding up guns, going to kill each other, and they're really hating each other. So that's on the surface. So you could call that like the surface of the lake, like the ripples on the surface of the lake. But deeper than that, it's like the same energy looking at each other. Love looking at love. Freedom looking at freedom. And that's what you are ultimately. When the anger passes, when the body passes, that's what you are. That's what always remains. So what is it, this like empty looking and this sense of I am that I'm speaking about, that's deeper than the personality structure, that's always there? You could say it's not a thing, while it's simultaneously all things. It's the sense of love and this empty looking. And that's been there the whole time. There always has to be these two qualities in order for experiencing to happen. There doesn't have to be anger, there doesn't have to be joy, there doesn't have to be happiness, there doesn't have to be thoughts. I used to think that thoughts created experience. It just has to be this empty looking and sense of beingness. And you can completely forget yourself, your personality structure, what you want or you don't want, or you need, or your grudges or your loves. Even that comes and goes. But this doesn't come and go. This is ever present. Ever present. It doesn't move. So what moves are the things. So the things are constantly changing in it, like a kaleidoscope. But your essence doesn't move. Never. Ever. Right now, there is perception happening, there is this sense of beingness, but the confusion is the habits and the conditions and the personality structure seem to be merged with that, so you can't separate it out. So it feels like you are looking, you are happy, you are experiencing, and that you contains the looking and contains the I am, and you can't separate them out and see that the character, everything you believed yourself to be, is something which is coming and going and coming and going and evolving and changing. It's not you. Well, it was unfortunate. Excuse me. Happens to the best of us. Yeah. Maybe we could like make an analogy like the computer screen. So you got this computer screen, and the computer screen always has to be there in order to look into the computer screen and see all the things inside the computer. Like if your computer screen wasn't there, you'd be like, Like without the computer screen, you can't do anything. You can't type someone an email. It's like, maybe the email is, I can't see anything. Like the computer screen always has to be there. And then all the apps and all the pictures and the videos and the YouTube and everything is inside and coming and going. So the YouTube isn't the screen. The pictures aren't the screen. The folders aren't the screen. The emails aren't the screen. But yet they're contained in the screen. The screen is creating them. But that is not the screen. And that's exactly like, well, not exactly, but almost like, good metaphor. I just made it up all by myself. Thank you. Thank you. Makes up for my little boo-boo earlier. But the computer screen is always there, and you could say that's like the watching and this sense of being. They're like the fundamentals in which everything is played. There has to be consciousness. How could you not be conscious? It's like, how could we not have a screen? Like, you're like, I'm just going to send an email, but the same here. If there isn't consciousness, there's nothing. The mind is like, actually, if there wasn't consciousness, I still think there would be something. Really now? Do you now? Have you really thought about that? Yes. Yes, I have. And if there was no consciousness, nothing was conscious at all, I still think there would be things. Right. But who would be conscious of it? If nobody was conscious of it, there would be no things. They would just exist and nothing would be conscious of it. Yes, that is how it would be. That is how it would be. They would exist, but nothing would be conscious of it. So you could say that there was nothing existing because there was nothing to be conscious of it. Can things exist if there is nothing that looks at it? Oh, yes, they can. Are you sure? Yes, I am sure. Things exist when I do not look at them. Do they? Have you ever had any proof of that? Yes, I have. I've recorded little videos before, and I can see that when I leave the room still exists. But that video is appearing in your consciousness. If there wasn't consciousness, would it exist? The mind can go in loops forever. What is your experience? What is your experience? Right now, things only exist when there is consciousness on them. That is the experience. That is even what quantum physics is suggesting. So even scientists who don't care at all about proving this subject right, and most probably thinks it woo-woo if they learned about it, or maybe not, but those will be totally not interested. But these scientists are beginning to, or have really said this, that things exist in every possibility until they're looked at, which you could equally say is no possibility. If it's every possibility, it's also no possibility. I don't think that works, Lisa. It's either every or nothing. It's not both simultaneously, but that's what they're saying, that they're both, everything simultaneously is happening. So that also includes no possibility, because that's a possibility. It's just this has been forgotten about because there's been so much focus on the story of you, me, you, me, you, me, you. The story of you, me. The story of subject, object. There has been so much focus on that singularity, the possibility even of singularity, has totally been forgotten because everything in thinking is in opposites. Night, day, good, bad, right, wrong, me, you. It always is in comparison to an other object. We know the sofa because it's not the floor. So it's always in two. Dual. It is dual. So non-dual is your essence, is what's experiencing now. That is just so miraculous. Can you hear me? That is so miraculous what is experiencing now. That is freedom, total and utter freedom. It's love and an emptiness, an empty experiencing. That is always here. You never not have consciousness. And it's the same consciousness looking from every angle. It's not even really that it's looking through these bodies. It's just seemingly looking through these bodies. It's actually that the consciousness is in all things. So the consciousness, and that's your actual experience as well. The consciousness is in the computer, it's in the laptop tray, it's in the legs, it's in the sofa, it's in the projector, it's in the peacock behind me, the round peacock, blues, it's in the colours. And that is your experience. It's not, your experience isn't that there's a consciousness here looking at all things. How would that manifest? Your experience is there is consciousness, and consciousness cannot be found, but yet there is all things, and there is consciousness in all those things. Like there is a knowing of them. There is a knowing of the laptop. There is a knowing of the light. There is a knowing of the legs. So when two bodies look at each other, it's not even like consciousness is coming from here and consciousness is coming from here. It's just seemingly. It's actually that the consciousness is in everything, every goddamn thing that's appearing equally. But just seemingly, these bodies are having the experience as if consciousness looking out of them. So when you look into somebody else's eyes, it's that same oneness, it's the same beingness. We are sisters and brothers. We are siblings of that oneness. Yes, we are. And this isn't theoretical, it sounds theoretical. It's just coming back to your own experience. Where are you? Who are you? Get past all this bullshit labeling. I'm this, I'm that, I'm words, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm right, I'm wrong, I'm better, I'm worse, I'm richer, I'm poorer. I have a bigger bike than my neighbour. I have a more eco-efficient car than my family. Every label, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. Knock them aside with a bat. Boom, 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 boom. Every label. What is beyond every label and meaning? And that which you are has no meaning, it has no purpose, it has no words, it has no goal. And that's not something you need to embody as a human. It's noticing that which is inherently free, which contains no words. Where is that? It is what you are. It is what's ever present. It is this moment. It is this. Things are moving in this. Everywhere you run to, everywhere you go to, you'll have this. This. It is a freedom. And it's this empty looking and this I am. And it's like being called forward. It's hiding amongst this whole bullshit of words and like ideas and projections and judgments. It's hiding behind this like mass and fog of you, and then it's being called forward. What is beyond you? Who? And then you begin to remember that your neighbor is you. Truly you. Your dog is truly you. I am truly you. And that's all you've ever wanted. It's like deep peace. It's just to know who you are. Who you are is not a behavior, not a word, not a sound, not a thought. It is present. It's oneness. That is God. How? Okay. So we can move to questions now.